All right, good morning, everyone. It's 8 minutes after 8. Our Alert Day special coverage here on this Wednesday. I'm Wave meteorologist Brian Good. Welcome aboard here. I know it's been a bit of, in some cases, a noisy morning for some of you, and some it's just been a light show in the distance. I totally understand. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk you through where we're at on the radar trends right now. We do have a few severe thunderstorm warnings that are out, and we'll kind of guide you through that. You have any questions? And hopefully we'll get a chance to answer some of those and talk a little bit about what is the game plan for the rest of the day today. Fair enough. Tawana at times will be doing updates on the TV side during the Today Show. So whenever she kicks on, there may be at times when the stream may kick off briefly. You'll see Tawana as it overrides for her updates there, and then it'll go back over to the stream as you see now. So there's no need for you to have to adjust anything. You just may see back and forth with us. All right. Fair enough. Let me show what it looks like. A couple of things to pass along. First off, let me get the alerts out of the way that we have. And in fact, then we'll get right into the radar. Wind advisories out. You guys know it's been windy most of the morning already. The wind will get stronger at times, around 40 miles per hour. Just about everyone's including that until 7 o'clock Eastern time. The more recent update we had this morning, a tornado watch, all of Indiana and northern Kentucky, includes Louisville, until noon. Could there be another watch? Someone's going to ask this. Is there going to be another watch after this? Possibly. It just depends on how the reset period plays out, which we'll look at coming up in just a few minutes. And then obviously we've got some warnings that are out too. All right, here are the current wind gusts: 35 in Louisville, 33 in Paola. I mean, it's windy everywhere. Some of that is storm induced, and some of that is just flat out just gradient wind, we call that, from that area of low pressure passing by to our north of the Ohio Valley. These are Indiana County. You see the flags whipping there in New Albany. Very gloomy skies. At times you'll see a few lightning bolts that are showing up. Let me show you a live look here at the storm tracker at the moment. This is where Kirsten Foote is. I'm not able to talk to Kirsten right now. We'll try to circle back to her coming up. But she is in the storm tracker, and you can see how the spray is being kicked up, traveling around town. It's just a mess out there, guys. So some of you still have to venture out this morning. I get that. But please just take it slow, because the rainfall rate is about 1.5 inches to 1.75 inches per hour. And that's a decent amount. A lot of moisture in the air. At least it's warm, though, at 71. Here's the radar. Here are the warnings. And so far, all these warnings have been Indiana-based that we've got to track. So notice across Kentucky, not too much action so far. Most of this has been an Indiana show, right where the low-level jet has been placed. So let's start on a tour, get through some of these. We'll start on the southern flank here. These are the most recent ones that came out. And I'll take these full screen. Hold on one second so you guys can see this. It's going to be Crawford, Du Bois, and Orange County here until 45 minutes after the hour. So about another 30 minutes or so. This was a well-advanced placed warnings. They are moving fast at a pretty good clip here. But this is for your typical severe threats, all right, when it comes to the threats of, quarter-size hail, wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour, that type of issue. That's what the main warning for this particular cluster is all about. This is heading right over Jasper at the moment into Du Bois County. And if it holds together, it'll be moving right into areas of southwest here, Orange County. And then there's another cluster we're watching too, not too far away from Holiday World, that may clip into the northwest side of Crawford County as well. Again, they're racing off at a very good clip. In fact, let me get a speed on these real quick, because that's going to be an issue for a while on some of these. Looks like forward motion about 65 miles per hour. So, yeah, you can't beat these. They're moving too fast. So moving quickly across areas of south central Indiana. That's not the only warning. The other one is just to the north. Now, this one's a little different. This one at times has had a tornado tag on it that we've been tracking. It's been moving to the east. Let me get a little bit of a centered on it. Hold on one second. And there we go. All right, this is the one that we've been watching to the western side there of Lawrence County. Now, I don't see the tornado tag on it right now, so they may have taken that off of there. But that was the initial alert, was possible rotation. And mainly because this has got a line with it, as you can see there, of heavy rain, thunderstorms. Anytime you get a wiggle on that line, you got to watch for any type of the potential for maybe, brief rotation that can develop. We're at daylight now, although it's really tough to see anything right now, right? Let me get rid of the warnings on this end here for a second so we can look at the radar. And I want to see if we do see any type of rotation, so bear with me. As it's moving, 65 miles per hour, anytime you can get one of these little clips of gustier winds that can roll on through, it's really hard to detect them until they're pretty much already have developed and fallen back apart again. So that's one of the bigger challenges. Right now, look at the wind field. Well, some of this is going to be impacted by some of the heavier rain. Let me get rid of the watch and warnings. Hold on 1 second. There we go. Now we can see it a little easier. Yeah, it's a little tough to see because it is perpendicular to the radar beam that is located there. So that's the reason why you're not going to get a good signature on wind. Let me see if I can switch to maybe a different radar. Let me see if I can get out of Louisville. Sometimes I can help. Hold on 1 second. All right, that's going to be Indianapolis radar. All right, that helps a little. You can sort of see. Again, green is, in this case, the wind blowing from the radar beam, but this is out of the Indy area. But see, we get that little green or the blue shade. That's just where it's perpendicular to the beam. And so there's a bit of what we call like a contamination to it, if you will. So it kind of messes up the beam to get full-on straight wind ideas. But that strongest of the wind is going to be right there heading toward that Vigo, Indiana area. So it's not even really into Bedford just yet. That is the area we're watching as it tracks to the east there at about 65 miles per hour. But again, they took the Tor tag off of it. So that's good. Hopefully that is a good sign that it is weakening, at least on that side of things. Let me broaden the view out just a bit more. And again, no warnings are on at the moment. Let me switch on to nearest radar. There we go. Let me loop this. Sometimes it's hard to tell with all the clustering of all these warnings and alerts. You can't see anything. So I'm going to do about an hour loop. Pay attention to where you're at and notice the trend. All right. Louisville's down here at the bottom. And we got the clusters of storms lifting more north than they are east, right? So this band here that's got warnings with it now moving into Jasper and eventually into Orange, that's going to be into Lawrence County, maybe even to Washington County, Indiana, perhaps into Jackson County as well. And then we've got the secondary band that is likely going to collide with this. This is an outflow from previous storms in Illinois overnight that will collide with this line of storms at some point here for this morning. All right, let me put the warnings back on because a new one looks like it's been issued. So let me bring that back up. And that's just the reissuance of the one in Northwest Lawrence. You see it flashing there. They're just readjusting it. And let me get the expiration time on that one. It'll kick in. Yeah, set for about 10 minutes or so. So does radar indicated. The only reports we've had of anything as far as damage, if you will, has been some trees that were knocked down. I believe it was in Scott County. They were blocking some of the roadways there from the wind earlier this morning. But that's the only thing I've seen so far. Let's see. Let's see. Adam Barr is mislabeled. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Sorry, Adam. I'm a bit of a delay here. Bear with me on the comments. I've not seen them in real time. So if you're asking me something right then that I'm showing, you may have to come back around and ask me a second time. It's just I got too much. I'm having to monitor. So I'll circle around the comments when I can. But most of this is on me to keep up with the data flowing in to make sure that I pass on everything I need to. Is it missing Louisville? Well, this particular round is building north of Louisville, but I wouldn't say missing yet because we may get development south of that even this morning. But we'll circle around to that because that will be a player Cameron for the afternoon. All right. Of course, we got spammers showing up everywhere on a day like today. Why? All right, so ignore those. Don't click anything any links or anything like that. You guys know that, right? The town's called Barr, Indiana. Okay. It's not anything. If there's any town that's not spelled correctly, that is out of our control. That is a national database that all TV stations in the country have. So if it's misspelled, that will have to be sent up to the higher ups of the company that run this for all stations. So we have no manual control over that. But apologies because we don't want anything to be misspelled, right? All right. So let me backtrack just a little bit on a different angle. Again, those are the only warnings we've got at the moment that are affecting wave country. This is going to be the severe thunderstorm warning that's moving into Du Bois County and Orange County. That's another 20 minutes. And then we have the cell that is also about to clip on the southern side there. That little band is going to clip right into Lawrence County, Indiana, and impact, well, it's impacting already around the Bloomington area. and racing to the north will likely be more of an issue for like Columbus, Indiana, eventually if it holds together. And Seymour, by the way, into Jennings County, North Vernon. No severe weather in your area, but lots of heavy rain. So please be careful. You can get some flash flooding out of these downpours that are taking place. For the rest of the area in Louisville and central Kentucky, again, right now it's quiet. So why are the storms all north at the moment? Well, there's a reason for that, and that is the jet that we were talking about yesterday that was going to be the driving force of igniting the thunderstorm cells right along areas in southwest Indiana. In the morning, we just didn't know which side of the river they would actually develop onto. Remember, that was a question. Now we know it's more of the Indiana side. And that belt of wind above our head, it's a pocket, if you will. You can't see that, but it's above, right over these thunderstorms is where that pocket of wind is. And that pocket of wind is going to be pushing into Ohio. So this will be Ohio's issue here very soon. And that's where most of your severe weather will be taking place. But we're not done because the southern edge of this, all the way through Kentucky and northern Kentucky especially, is going to be, the way it's trending here, relatively untouched. So we could very well get the main line to fire up and react to that, and therefore it would mean the second part of this storyline today would be stronger versus the first line would be. As far as Louisville goes anyway, that looks to be the trend, but I'll go through some of the high-res data here in a second that's coming in, and we'll see if it matches that or not. But in the short term for us, as far as wave country, our focal point is going to be just on these clusters of cells with a damaging wind, some hail, although I haven't had many reports of hail. If you have any, let me know. I doubt we'll see a lot of hail, but if you see any hail reports, it's possible, but it's more going to be bursts of wind. It's already strong now, 30 miles per hour, 35. You add wind gust with your forward speed that we have in some of these storms. I mean, you can easily get to 60 miles per hour for wind gust potential out of these, all right? And again, that's going to be aiming all into our northern counties, and eventually it's going to be an Indianapolis, Cincinnati, and Dayton, Ohio issue. All right, hang tight and then look over some of the more reports that are coming in. So bear with me. Appreciate y'all. You guys are always patient. Let's see. Indianapolis Airport just hit 51 miles per hour. Not severe, but that's notable. All right, a lot of power outages in Illinois from where the storms were earlier in the day that took place. I'm not seeing any other reports other than that right now. That's good. That's good. Most of these are still fairly elevated. They're starting to root from here on out, though. We're past the higher base idea. They should start lowering here soon. So the only plus side, not that it's a plus side, because it's going to be somebody's got to deal with it. It's probably going to be Ohio and eastern Indiana. But someone's going to have to deal with these lowering bases, and that's going to mean more of a tornado threat. We'll start to evolve a little bit more into the morning for areas around, again, Switzerland County, Ripley County, Cincinnati, Dayton, Ohio, that area, the way it's looking here. All right, those are the only two warnings. And we got one of those that's set to expire in about 8 minutes. It's in the core here, Wave Country. We'll kind of monitor that and see how it trends. Louisville, you see, Wavy just popped in. Louisville's continuing that warning. Right there, that's the one that they're going to hold on to. Well, actually, hold on, it's not that one. It is this one, small little section of it right there now, just over Du Bois and Patoka Lake area. Again, until 45 minutes after the hour. Still holding on to it. Let me try to get a different angle on this radar. Hold on. Let's see. Sometimes we can track any type of hail that could be developing with it. I haven't seen many reports of hail, but you know what? Let's just take a look and see. And what you're about to see in a second should be some type of color that will pop in. Hold on 1 second. And this is the vertical, we call this the vertical integrated liquid. It gives us an idea of whether or not you can get some hail. And once you get into the reds, you start to pay a little more attention. Not seeing that right now with this, right? So far, the veil, if you will, goes up to a little bit of a darker green. So hail is not a big concern that I see from these. And the ones in Indiana, nah. You may get pea size, but that's it. There's no sign of large hail. So that's good. We'll take that. Now we just got to deal with the potential for some gusty winds. Looks like to be the main criteria there. Snow and Crestwood, that's obviously going to be hail. I know that gets a little tricky. Probably a delayed report there in Crestwood. Excuse me. You probably do have some pea-sized help with that as it moves. Look how fast these are moving. Again, 65 miles per hour. Boom. It's moving in and they're moving out. What'd you say, Adam? Major power outage. Oh, in Illinois. Yeah. It's been a long night for them up there. Is it Leandra? Is that right, Leandra? Sorry, it's hard for me to read your name there. Seymour's had some wind and rain. You're welcome. Glad we're here. It's early in the day. I know. These are never fun early in the day. Is there any rotation near Bedford, Indiana? It looks like it is, according to a website. Let me look. I didn't see anything that was too alarming on that, but you know what? As always, we will take a scan on it. All right, here we go with Bedford. And it's really the lifting of the band to the north and the isolated cell, kind of a collision that happened. That was about 30 minutes ago with those cells, but we'll take a gander here. Give me 1 second. Not that I see. I think it's, I'm trying to get to the right radar scope on this. Yeah, there's nothing that's bounded here that I can see that indicates a big concern there, Adam. So that's at least good. But certainly some strong gusty winds. We'll monitor that. There's no tour possible in any of these for that reason. I don't see anything that's alarming. In fact, I can take the beam. Let me try to go up a little higher up in the storm. Hold on 1 second. Let's see. Let's go up higher. Too high. Overshot the storm. There we go. Right in there. Yeah, even the mesocyclone above it. Yeah, those strong winds being indicated there. And I'm back down to the lower layers of the atmosphere. So looking okay there so far, but we'll watch it, Adam. Don't worry. In fact, most of the area, let me get rid of these warnings keep pop on. It's hard to see things. We get it. Let me turn off the, what's still on? Something's still on. The wind field. That's still where you got your strongest of wind. It's a straight line wind, but that's really just kicking it up. I mean, you can see why they got that wind gust in Indy. And Indianapolis is just on the leading edge of that band. But this is going to be a strong push of wind right now. That's going to move right into, right into Bloomington. Strong straight line wind. Got to watch for a little bit of a spin up potential, always on the leading edge of those, but I don't see it yet. But you're going to have a strong push of wind. Look how large. And I always say when you get these larger polygons that are drawn up, that's always a sign that confidence is there that they're going to last a while and push. I mean, they're moving 65 miles per hour, so they got to draw the polygon out pretty far, all the way to I-65, just to cover this line of storms, because it won't take you long to experience it. It'll be arriving soon. That looks to be the strongest wind threat that I see. The cell that's here, way down to the south, it does have some pockets of stronger wind right over into Du Bois. Hold on, let me get to a different angle. This is the challenge we got when you get a messy radar and you got different radar beams to try to get the wind fields in the right spot. You get a lot of interference from some of the heavier rain bands, depending on where they're at in position to the radar. So that becomes a challenge. It's not fun. So I apologize because you're seeing a lot of pretty colors. And I don't have a ton of time to explain them all, but what I'm going to do here, let me switch over to Louisville. Hold on. Let's do, all right, here's Louisville. This is a new warning. Let's see where this is going to be. All right, this one's going to be Lawrence again in Jackson until 9:15. So I'll take you there. Just wanted to show this real quick. There's a little pocket of wind right there over Du Bois that's moving toward French Lick at the moment. That'll be one of the bands we're watching for strong wind. Here's the latest warning till 9:15. This is going to be the one that's going to include, again, just about all of Lawrence County, and just a small little piece of Jackson County now included in that little corner there in Jackson, but just about all of Lawrence County. So Bedford, this line is heading their way as well as the storm surges to the east. And the reason for that, let me get that box out of the way so you can see it. It's just that squall line, if you will, like a mini line of strong winds that is pushing in, racing in right now from the west, rapidly pushing into our Indiana counties, east right over Bloomington will be next. So Adam, be interesting to see what happens once you experience a storm. Let us know how strong the wind gets in your area. You've got just a few more minutes, and you should already notice the trees swaying already pretty good. Let me see if Andy's reporting anything out of that area. Hold on. Let's see. See Louisville. I haven't seen anything from Louisville. Indy's been pretty quiet. Yeah, just the one gust of Indianapolis that I've seen so far of the 51 miles per hour. Jasper in that smaller cell down to the south, by the way, that particular cell here did record 35 miles per hour and nothing else to report. So this one, I feel they're going to probably let that go in the next update that comes in. So I don't know if that one's going to hold on or not to see if it tries to power back up as it heads northeast, but so far it has not been producing severe weather. This is a much more alarming band here because it's got a little bit of a notch to it. If you see there, it's got that wiggle or the Superman or the S shape to it, and you got to watch those. You can get some rotation could develop too, right on the little bit of the kink there. Not only in the leading edge of the Boeing, but right where it kinks, you can get a rotating cell. And that'll be just north of Bloomington, Indiana, heading toward Columbus. Now, the southern part of that is what's also going to have some strong winds with it. You got to monitor that. Now, the good news there for those into Jackson County is that it's looking south of there. It's a little active, so there's not much to help out here as far as an inflow getting into that cell hanging on the southern edge. Otherwise, I'd be a little worried about that one. But I'm thinking right now these storms that are to your south may kind of mess up that wind flow a bit. But still, I mean, this is going to be a wall of wind that could knock some trees down, knock the power out as well as it races across south central Indiana heading toward I-65. So that's the strongest line that I see in our area at the moment. And, okay, Weather Service did confirm they are not going to extend this warning because, again, the only wind gust we got is 35 miles per hour out of it. So it's not going to be able to maintain a warning for a bit longer. So that is going to be good news. So we'll be able to drop that for those of you into portions there of Crawford and Orange. Good news there. Looking down to the south again, monitoring southern Kentucky. So far, quiet. But again, you don't have as much support for the lift of the air for wind to ramp up storms in this area yet. But it's leaving town. Every scan that goes by, it's on its way to Ohio. So it's taking all the storms will hitch a ride and ride along with it. So this will soon be more of a Indiana and Ohio show. It already is, but will become the dominant show through the rest of the morning, it looks like. But we're not done. I'll explain. They're in Scottsburg, or I think Kirsten's in Scottsburg, right? I'm not sure if Kirsten can even hear me at all. Let's see if she can. I think she can. All right, let's check in with Kirsten Foote right now, who is live right now, I believe, in Scottsburg, Indiana. Kirsten, first off, let us know where you're at and what your experience been like so far this morning.
Yeah, so we are in Scottsburg, the Scottsburg area. We just looped around and we're heading back on 65 south this morning. So, I'll give you a look at the roads right now, as I should. So when I had to show you outside, things are looking pretty good here. We've been driving since just after 7 this morning, kind of through the Louisville Metro and then up here into Scottsburg. And, this morning in the thick of the commute in Louisville, we had some of those heavy pockets of rain that we were hitting with some of that lightning and whatnot. And then as we've hit 65 north into, the Scottsburg area, we had a pretty good experience. We had a little bit of some rain showers here and there, and then, some more sprinkles. But overall, we've been pretty good here. Wind is, you can tell the winds are definitely gusting as well, too. We're in a pretty big vehicle, and I think Flynn, my photographer, my driver, is definitely having to kind of manage that at times. So for being in a pretty big vehicle, I can only imagine what that's like if you are in a smaller vehicle too. But you can kind of see the skies and the clouds up ahead. There's some breaks and there is some sunshine pointing through up ahead. So that's a good sight to see for us.
Yeah. So again, you're heading south, right? On 65?
Yes, we are heading south.
And that's interesting because everyone keeps asking, okay, what's it look like here in Louisville and point south? And the trend that I'm seeing is that we're going to get enough heating here that we may have more of an issue for the afternoon round of storms. So the worst of it looks like it's moving away from you, because I know Flynn is a great driver, Kirsten, as you know. But these storms, by the way, are moving at 65 miles per hour. So it's going to be hard to keep up. So they're just pulling too far away. Yeah.
And we even had a couple wind gusts just now too. So I'd say that's maybe the main thing. Of course, some like wet roads from some of the rain that's happened before. But these wind gusts are every once in a while you get a big gust of wind that hits you. So that's something that we're seeing down here. But just looking at the clouds too, you can tell how fast these storms are moving to the east.
All right, Kirsten Foote, thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm glad that overall it's just been a rain and wind setup, but you can see the break as she's heading back south toward the city that is about to develop once more. So, Kirsten, head back to the city, get a little bit of a break there, and hopefully we don't see you again, but we may. So it's nothing personal.
We'll see.
All right, thanks, Kirsten. I appreciate it. Again,
thanks, Brian.
That's around Kirsten Foote live this morning, covering the storms there across Indiana. As we, again, that band, that's where she's located at now. And again, that race just so quickly out away from them that she just only had to deal with the actual heavy rain portion of that. All right, so where do we stand on warnings? It's 34 minutes after the hour. Right now, we just have the warning that's out for parts here of Lawrence County and a small slither of Jackson County that we're watching for that line of storms as it approaches. We'll see whether or not it's a very messy radar setup here today. Sorry, my nose keeps itching. You ever had your nose was itching all the time? What's that mean? Is it someone's thinking of you, or someone's on the way, or severe weather's on the way? I don't know. It's one of those things there. Wavy will pop in, by the way, at times with crash reports, power outages, warnings, you name it. It'll come through. Adam's got an update for us. Sustained at 20, gust 35 there in Bloomington. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate that. Severe threat for tonight. I'm about ready to get to that. Hang tight. Sun is not a good sign. Everyone keeps saying, yeah, sun's not a good sign. You're right. And a day like today, you don't want the sun. You don't want the sun at all. That's for sure. All right. So let me get into that. While we continue to watch these warnings, let me do a quick scan out of Indy just to make sure there's nothing that's developed from that area that I need to pass along heading toward Bedford, but I don't see anything yet. Okay, that's the warning for down to the south. They're updating. Okay. Yeah, nothing new that has arrived yet. Hold on one second. A couple other things. If you guys can only see how many screens I'm looking at. Oh, my goodness. Let's see. The only damage report we had looks like a tree that fell on a vehicle. This was on 31 in Scott County, not too far away from where Kirsten was. A tree fell on a vehicle. Northbound lane's partially blocked there. Now that's about an hour, I believe, report on that. So Kirsten, I think, has already had that mentioned on the TV side. They talked about it there. Okay. All right. So let me get back into the warnings and keeping an eye on that, and let's discuss what's next, because this is what a lot of you are wanting to know. So let me broaden out the view first off and get back to a summary of where we're at here with this. And as you guys know, we had an active night. I think it may be the state record, right, for hail into Illinois. I think it's 6 inches. A 6-inch hailstone was received there. I don't know if it's going to be the official record or not. I mean, that can kill people. Obviously, it's a type of hail that doesn't bounce. It just thumps, and you don't want that. So, and the Kankakee County area there to around Chicago, that's just been one of the hardest hit areas from the hail. And here's what's interesting. Look at this. This band of snow is heading right into the areas that just had tornado warnings 12 hours ago. Isn't weather wild? All right. So what's our game plan here? Well, let's get into the satellite. Let me zoom back in. Now we're still early in the day, so I don't know if we're going to be able to see much on the visible. I'm squinting with you guys as well. Now I can't see much yet on the visible, but I'm sure we got some breaks developing. The Storm Prediction Center outlook, I believe, normally was, I think it's 8:30. Let me see. So it should be now. Let's see if there's any update. Slight risk, that looks about the same. Just about all of Kentucky. Let's break this down a bit more on threats. We'll start with the tornado potential. Still aiming for Ohio and West Virginia today, just because that pocket of wind that's over us this morning, or over Indiana, that's heading east, and the front is pushing it south at the same time. So you do the vector on that, it's heading into Ohio and West Virginia. That's going to be a problem for them. later on. The question will be really for us is just this afternoon round along the actual front as it moves in. And as far as straight line wind, they do have that a bit elevated around Carroll County, but I don't know if this is a brand new update or not, to be honest with you. I'm still waiting to see if that's in. Let me see if it'll confirm for me. I don't think this is. Let me double check. No, that should be any moment now. So as soon as I see it hit the feed, I will pop up the map again and we'll look and see if there's any changes. But this was the overnight one, the early morning one. Okay. Okay. So let me show you the HERB model. We'll start with that. Our high res data here. This is what it's showing for about this time. Fair, right? This is not a bad look to it. It's got the current setup indicating the thunderstorms over Indiana and some sun breaks over Kentucky. Okay, good. It initialized fairly well, so that's good. So where does it go from here? Let's find out. So let's advance this one more frame. Here we go at 11 a.m. Not too much happening in Louisville. Most of the action is there into Indiana. Still some sun breaks coming out across Kentucky. We advanced this into 12 to 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Now we're getting the first signs of the cold front getting established. This is the this looks to be the reset zone I talked about yesterday. Looks like it's going to be all through here, which is not good. So yes, if you missed out on this morning, then you are going to be more prone to the afternoon round that'll come into play. So that begins to fire up around 1 o'clock. Let's track it. Let's advance it. We'll do this slowly here. Move it down frame by frame. Ready? All right. Here we are at 2 o'clock and then 3 o'clock. Now, this is interesting. You see what it's doing here is you still got the line of storms there in Indiana, but it's trying to develop these smaller supercells in advance of the line. So that's a little worrisome to see those popping. You don't want that to ever happen. So we'll monitor for central Kentucky. It may not be exactly right on placement. Sometimes the models get that right. Sometimes they're off quite a bit. So you got to give a buffer zone. But just look at the storyline. The storyline says that a line of storms will be getting established, but there's a chance for cells to pop in advance of it. That could be over Louisville. That could be E-Town. I don't know. But that's something that we'll be watching because those would certainly carry a bit more of a, at least a low-end tornado threat compared to the line would be. Let's advance this a little more. And we get to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Those cells are still ongoing across central Kentucky. Because they have formed, though, they are the furthest south on the radar. And anytime you're dealing with multiple bands of severe weather and say you're in the middle of it, if you still have something south of you, odds of getting severe weather from the one north of you are pretty slim, just because the ones to the south steal all the moisture and all the wind energy, period. So these will likely, on the southern side, will likely become the stronger ones. The ones along the line may struggle for Indiana. So may not get much action there with the main front, but the ones ahead of it look like that may become the lead at 6 p.m. You could still get some gusty winds and a little bit of hail, possibly, but nothing too wild. And that'll be the actual front passing Louisville about 6 p.m. And then we get to 9 p.m. and that lead wave moves on. So it's almost like two lines form, starting as supercells first. And that's, if this is true, if this is the trend the model is leading toward, which makes sense based on what we're seeing now with some sun breaks, then we will just have to watch for those cells that pop in Kentucky this afternoon, the first initial ones. We'll have to watch them for the first maybe 2 to 3 hours. And then eventually they'll become a line and head off to the east. So that means that we're not done yet. But we are likely going to get a little bit of a break here. So once these storms move out of Indiana, we'll get some new development there into southern Indiana again around lunch to 1 o'clock. But I think it may take a bit of time to get back into severe weather warnings again. And then we'll go through a period of warnings, likely another watch, more than likely, will come out for the afternoon for the Kentucky portion of it. And then we're done. And then we're done. Easy enough, right? Maybe not. I don't know. Any questions? Tim, I think I saw your comments, and that was the new update from SBC. Yeah, it may very well be on it. I have a way to verify it, but I can't. Okay, there it is, popping in on Wavy. So yeah, that was it. I just can't see. There's a timestamp code on it that's cut off on my screen. So that's why. So thank you for letting me know. Sometimes you can tell by the maps, just by the little changes, but this one looks nearly the exact same. So there it is again, showing just that slight over the area. Let's go through the parameters once more, just to make sure nothing's a little wonky, right? Tornado threat. Yeah, they did put a little bit of that hatched area there to the northeast. I'm not worried about that. It's not a factor for us. And then the damaging wind threat, still the same. All right, so I think overall, we're just looking at a few more warnings this afternoon. One or two could be tornado warnings, yes, but most of them will be severe with a large hail damaging wind threat for this afternoon. May get some flood advisories, could even get one or two flood warnings, flash flood warnings. I'm not going to roll that out. And then we are done. So we've got, let's see, it's 8:45 now. I would say another 7.5 hours of the threat anyway, and then we're done with this one. So this is not too bad. And not too bad, certainly compared to what other folks have had to deal with. So how about that snow talk? Nah, I'm not doing snow talk today. I'll be back on track tomorrow. I want to stick with the warnings we have active in the area right now, and then I'll let you guys go. Is it likely to be a tornado watch? I would say so, but it's their call from the Storm Prediction Center. I mean, your values are kind of balanced out equally, but I think the kind of wind field we got, especially if they're supercellular, that pop in advance of the line, if the HER model is right and they do that, I think they probably will do tornado watch to be on the safe side. But either way, don't worry about the type of watch. You can get tornadoes and severe thunderstorm watches, and you can get nothing but severe thunderstorm warnings in a tornado watch. So the watches tend to show you the most likely category that of warning that we found, but that doesn't always match up. But either way, it's severe weather, severe weather. Just be always ready. Not Ashley's asking about long track. No, our situation for us is not a long track tornado kind of situation. If we were to see one, they would actually be very short lived, which is harder to detect. Some of those cells in central Kentucky this afternoon, they may last 1 or 2 counties. As far as a warning, doesn't mean it's going to be on the ground. They will likely, what I mean by that is when you get into this environment, you may have the one parent supercell that produces a tornado, but the actual tornado itself will have a tough time maintaining itself before it wants to go back up in the cloud, cycle through, and it may still have a chance to produce another tornado. So the tornado warning will keep going, but it may not drop back down again into 2 more counties down the road. Then it decides to drop back down again. It's not a situation where there's one that drops and then stays on the ground the entire time. We're not in that environment, but an up and down idea on a few of these, yes. But the appearance of the tornado warnings for several counties may seem like it's one on the ground the whole time, but I think that's very doubtful in this scenario, if that makes sense. It's kind of an optical thing and also the ground truth mixed in. That's our job to tell you the difference of that while it's happening. Hey, Brittany, live in Carrollton, worked all night. Am I safe to go to sleep for a few hours? Yes, you are. You're in good shape. You'll be fine. Get a nap. The sun may even come out and try to keep you from taking a nap. Yeah, go get a nap. Oh, let's see. Yes, sun's a bad thing. Yes, sun is a bad thing. Still got the warning updates still going on for Indy there. Again, as soon as these expire, I think the last one we have is 9:15. Then I probably will we'll check on things and do another scan of the short range modeling and see if there's any change on that. And then I'll let you guys go. And then we'll get ready for midday, and we'll get up for midday and see how that trends with the new data coming in. But I still think the way this is looking now, more and more, that this is likely going to be a setup. It's going to feature a line of storms that will soon form. It'll connect roughly in this area, Indiana, into Arkansas here shortly. We should get some kind of thunderstorm action, but I can totally understand why there will be some cells that may fire in advance of that this afternoon. So 2 different issues we're watching. The current situation, though, that is in Indiana, that one is about to end its current storyline and become a problem for Ohio and Pennsylvania and West Virginia for the rest of the morning. So this is moving fast. This happens a lot. Models don't always capture the forward motion on these things, but 65 miles per hour is certainly faster than what some of the models indicated. So these events, while they look like they would be around for hours on end or moving a lot faster, that's not a bad thing. But what is happening in Louisville with that forward motion like that is it's allowing us to get quickly into a partly sunny setup. So there is a bit of an asterisk on that one there. What other questions you got that I can try to answer on here? I'm already seeing the sun. Thanks, Steve. Down into Brandenburg. Let's see how the windows are open. Cody says. There you go. Someone has something about Sherpas. Well, who was it? Was it Zombie? I'm a Zombie. Sherpatsville in the area for possible severe weather tonight would be further south. I think you will get at least, and that's a good question on that. If we don't get the cells that form, that pop in advance of the line, they could easily pop and miss you, Miss Zombie. But if they don't pop, then yes, the main line still will be a threat for you. And that would be roughly 2 to 4 o'clock this afternoon. I've had a bit of time period on it. And we're going to be working on all of our times and readjusting here shortly to account for the radar trends and to see where we stack up. Fair enough. See, no other issues from Louisville that's been coming in. Indianapolis. Most of the wind gusts have been around 42 miles per hour in some parts. Even that Lime is only about 42 miles per hour. So not a lot of, is this the tornado watch? Yeah, here's a statement from the Storm Prediction Center. You see it popping up there now. It's the occasional severe wind gusts moving across central and southern Indiana this morning. We'll continue to support wind damage potential. Let's see. Moving into southern Illinois will help sustain a damage and wind threat this morning. This moves into eastern Indiana and into Ohio. Let's see. A local expansion of the watch and or a downstream watch may eventually be needed to cover the rest of the storm trends. In the wake of the morning storm, some recovery is possible on parts of the Ohio Valley, which would result in another round of severe weather. All right. So, but they're basically saying is their update from the weather at the Storm Prediction Center is the current watch, which we bring that up. The tornado watching, it's including Louisville right now in southern Indiana. They're thinking about either extending the tornado watch out just a little bit more into Ohio or just issuing a whole other, I don't know why a pin does that, a whole other watch box to cover this area. And then they also acknowledge that there will be some type of a severe threat that will likely develop this afternoon for the rest of Kentucky. But that will be evaluated into the coming hours ahead. Easy enough. All right. Any questions on this? I think it's a lot easier than what it looked like yesterday. So, but that's the good thing. Once they get going, then you can see the entire storyline start to unfold, and it gets a lot easier than to get into, the most likely scenarios that play out. When you're a day in advance, you just don't know. You don't know where they're going to pop in the overnight and how they'll influence Kentucky, and do we get sun or not? I mean, all that is, it's cause and effect kind of mess. So it takes some time, but this is a little easier to see. And I think the game plan is in stage here for the afternoon to be more the concern here. Lightning and thunder, Adam there, 45 into Bloomington. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate that. Let's see. Sorry, hard for me to read. How much sun do you think we'll get? Well, I don't think I'm going to get like a ton of sun, but I think for a while here until we develop the cumulus again, you can probably get maybe a good hour of some blue to enjoy, but it will be windy. But we have the wind advisory already out to cover that idea. So yeah, it will stay quite windy throughout much of the day, even when we go sunny. In fact, especially when we go sunny. Now we just got to wait and see what happens for the afternoon round. But again, there's nothing that I've seen here so far that makes me think this is the tornado outbreak of 2026 for us or anything like that. I don't see anything like that. But as always the case, and what I always like to preach on here is that it only takes one storm that, even it's a typical severe thunderstorm warning, that can cause damage to your home or hurt someone, and that matters. I don't care if that was the only storm in the whole area and everyone else can get upset and say, oh, nothing happened. It still impacted someone, and our job is to try to prevent that. But we obviously can't stop the storms, but at least we can make as many people aware as possible. So when you guys share our post, share our live stream like this, and tell everyone about our streaming channel that we got, those are all helpful tools to try to reach those people that may not be paying attention, especially when you go partly sunny. Everyone's going to think that's over and there's nothing going on. But you guys know that that means that there's a second round that will form. The question will be, though, will we get the line of storms, or will we get these isolated supercells that try to form in advance of it, or will we get both? I'm leaning toward both. Any other questions I can get? Some of these are a little hard for me to answer because they're very specific. Get some lightning out there. Yep. You already took care of the patio furniture. I didn't put mine out yet, only because it's going to snow, and I need something to measure snow on, right? Got to have that patio table. So I'm leaving all the covers on. Although Harriet, my tortoise, did get a chance to get outside yesterday to eat some dandelions. She was very excited. She's back indoors now, but she loved her Freedom Day yesterday for a moment. It was really nice. Snow, yeah, we'll cover that tomorrow. Don't panic. It's not going to be much. Wind is going to be one of our bigger thorns the next few days. We're going to have a lot of wind days coming up, but it is March. All right, let's check on these warnings. Do a quick scan on that, and then we'll wrap this up. Oh, while we're doing that, I know Kirsten right now has probably got our mic off, but there's look at that beautiful shot there, traveling on the 3rd Street, or the Clark Memorial Bridge. See that blue sky showing up in the city. Sun is shining. Yeah. So we're going to be heating up. Temperature outside in Louisville is, I think that says, let me pull up the number. I think it says 77, but maybe it may be 72, 71. I mean, close. All right. 71 degrees. But you can certainly tell that the sun's out, because all the 70s where you're getting some heating now, 60s where it's been stormy. Even 60s with storms. That's not too shabby. I'll show you the 10-day too, since these warnings expire, and then we'll get to we'll let you guys go. We got about 15 minutes. I don't know if they'll hold on all the way with the warning or not through then, because it's getting really ragged. Not as impressive as they were. That's for sure. Now, these cells here are trying to feed into it. We'll watch these sneaky ones around that. What is that? Petersburg, Indiana. There's Barr for you there, Adam. Tracking into the southern part of Lawrence County. Nothing severe noted there. Let me see if they got any lightning with them. Yeah, lightning indicators on. Not much lightning. So rain-cooled air too does help a little bit, at least making it a little bit more stable. Okay, so this is going to be our main warning we got as we head through the afternoon. Not much happening to the south. A lot of debris. This is a lot of cirrus, by the way, that gets pulled off of thunderstorms here into Arkansas. That's why it's got that rainy, light rain look. Once that thins out, and it should become a little more thinner and just kind of dissolve, if you will, as it tracks into West Kentucky, that is when it will start to develop more of a line of storms. Not quite there yet. This is preventing it from happening. But as the storms continue to advance northeast, this overhang here of showers will eventually dissipate and thin out, and then we'll get into a little bit more of a line look of thunderstorms that will try to connect there into southwest Indiana and northeast Arkansas later on today. Otherwise, fairly quiet in Louisville. I got some showers there. Scoot, let me switch back over to the local radar so you can see that a little more. There you go. Yeah, some passing showers every once in a while, even some into Clark County at the moment. And there's just a clustering of warnings. I mean, this whole thing is just a line that is wiggling. And as I always say, anytime they got wiggles in the line like that for line of storms, you got to watch them. Each little wiggle can be a sign of rotation, and that is quite the, what we call a QLCS squall line, but I would just say a wiggly squall line. Much easier to say that. I don't like all those fancy words. That's mainly for Indianapolis area and towards Cincinnati. And we'll keep an eye on Bedford into Seymour as the tail of that just kind of scoots across. But against some showers, they're the ones that moved in from Paoli and Salem. They've collided into it on the southern side here. So it's getting very, very messy and taming it down. Uh, 70 degrees in Memphis, Indiana. All right. You guys are all about my tortoises now. Yes, I do have a giant tortoise. Long story. But you will see her usually on Tuesdays. You see her on the 3 o'clock show, but you'll see her this summer. She'll be here at the station. Cameron, I need to know where I'm chasing today. I feel like Central Kentucky will be the spot. Oh, okay, well, let me go ahead and I'm not trying to burst your bubble here, Cameron, but I never advise chasing in Kentucky. Never. Indiana is easier than Kentucky, but Kentucky is extremely dangerous. That's why we don't even send our crews to do chasing in Kentucky. It's too dangerous. The terrain is just too much up and down. A lot of a tree line issue that comes into play. You're not going to see. You may be driving along, it just looks like heavy rain in front of you, but you're going a little bit up a hill. What you don't see on the other side of the hill is the actual wall cloud and maybe tornado that has already dropped down, but you can't see it because of just the line of perception there on that. So it's very dangerous in Kentucky, and that's the reason why we do not have a lot of storm chasers typically in Kentucky. It's it can be very risky. So Cameron, my advice to you is don't. I would stay away from that. And Indiana's a flatter territory, so it's a little easier, but Kentucky is not. So we're very adamant with our crews to stay away from chasing in our area. We put them in a spot where they can safely get in behind it, but as far as going out and trying to chase, yeah, it's just too dangerous even for our people. So try to stay home if you can. All right, so this warning still got 15 minutes. Technically they can still let it go and keep going for a little bit longer. I'm still impressed with the wind size, especially Adam. Would you say 45 miles per hour is what you picked up? So yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to get a ton. Let me check and see what India is saying. Hold on. Stand by. 7.2% without power in Jennings County. Let's see. Madison County, Indiana, 58 miles per hour. That's not our area. That's one of the higher gusts. That is right at severe limits there. Okay, tornado watch technically expires at noon. I'm hoping that we will get this little break here to come into play. Any questions I can try to answer real quick? Hold on. Sorry. Hey, Bryce. Severe potential since we did not have much in E-Town this morning. Yeah, you will have more of the afternoon threat, Bryce. And it may end up being two areas, one of cells that form and then one of a line that forms. And you're starting to see little hints of that. It's trying to right there. Sorry, my pen's off. Right there, south of Bedford, Indiana, back toward Evansville. It's trying to be the beginning of what will be a line that will try to work, but it may be a bit of a challenge on that. Twana says, check out the SkyTrack camera. Twana, do you already have it switched on for me? Because I can't switch from here. Let's see if she'll do it for me. I think she's working on it. It looks pretty blue. She switched it. She said it's really sunny. So yeah, we'll show you some sunshine while we're waiting here. It's kicking in. Slowly but surely. But yeah, Bryce, that afternoon threat was what we'll be watching now. And we're going to get a little bit of a break here. So I think everyone has a chance to get some lunch if you need to, or late breakfast, whatever the case may be. Oh, Tawana said the feeds have all went down. Okay, well, imagine a sunny sky that we will have there, and that will help you there. Thanks for trying, Tawana. I appreciate it. All right, let's issue the numbers. 72 here again, 73 into Bardstown. And we're still watching these warnings there, but if I see them taper down, I think we'll just kind of call it from that. I not see anything that's overly concerning right now. Let me do a quick little scan, one more here, of the 9:15 warning. So bear with me. Yeah, I need to do a different scan. Hold on. That's Indy. Let me switch to Louisville. There's some pockets of wind, but it really isn't that anything impressive. Moving to Jennings. Let me switch over to let's see if this radar is on. Of course, now I'm switching to Owensville, Indiana, which means the wind's blowing away from the radar, so it changes it to red. Red blowing away from the beam, green toward. So you can almost tell which one I'm clicking on. By the way, it's reacting. Indianapolis is in a bad spot because they're just getting rain filtering there from it. But Louisville's fair enough. I mean, there are little pockets of wind. I don't see anything. I really don't right now that's alarming on that. So that should be allowed to expire. Now, will they cancel the Toyota watch and then reissue another one for Louisville? I don't know. I don't know yet. They may not take that risk. I don't know if I'd want to. There we go. By the way, in Louisville, there is a little band there of showers that is approaching. It's just showers, but just letting you know, there will be a little bit of rain falling in Louisville within the next, I would say, 15, 20 minutes. Nothing severe, but maybe accompanied by some of the strong wind gusts. We're at what, 29? I think it's 29 miles per hour. It was the last gust we got there at the airport. All right, let's do a quick update on the modeling now that it's 9 o'clock. Let's see if it's updated at all. And then I'll recap your questions, show you the 10-day, and then we'll be done for this round. And then we'll come back again later today as needed. I got a feeling it's going to be needed. All right, here is Futurecast for 11 a.m. showing the storms mainly all north. All right, that's fair. I like that. Here we go with it around 12 to 2. Again, that spot where you start to see the line tries to develop, but then we try to get some of these cells that try to form as we head into that 3 or 4 o'clock window. And the HERT model has gone pretty far south, just barely south of the parkways, but you can't take this as gospel here. This is just a short range model. Doesn't always get it exactly right, but I think in general, the storyline makes sense that we're going to get a line, at least try to be a line of storms that will continue to get established along the actual boundary from Illinois, Indiana, and Southwest Indiana, or to Kentucky. And then ahead of that, because of the heating of the day and some sunshine, some of these isolated cells that could be isolated strong to maybe severe may try to form and take advantage of that this afternoon. Where they pop, good question. And as we head into this evening, most of that will continue heading east, and then the main line is right there. Passes through at 6 o'clock. Most of your severe risk, from what this looks like to me anyway, is going to be already out of our area, and then we're done. We're done after that. All right, let me show you the 10-day real quick, and then one last look at the radar, and then we'll call it a day. And get to some of your questions real quick. What'd you say about? You got a tree limb that fell on your car, smashed your windshield. Where are you at? Yeah, I hope everyone's all right. Type in and let me know if you're all right there. We got the alert day in place today, as you see there, for the obvious severe issues we've got that we're tracking. And then as we get into Friday, just by the way, is going to be another round of wind. Not anything on severe thunderstorms, but a lot of wind will come into play for Friday. That may be an alert day because of wind, because the winds will be stronger than we've even had today. and can cause some tree limbs to fall and may cause some power outages. So hang on tight. The current thinking is 45 to 50, maybe up to 52 miles per hour possible for Friday. So very windy. Saturday looks cool, but overall, I still think we can get to 60 on Saturday. I don't know if we'll be stuck entirely in the 50s, but certainly much of the day will be 50s. It's just a matter of do we peak for an hour or two at 60 to 62, something like that. But overall, I think Saturday is a nice looking day. Good for the parade. Sunday, we get into a warmer setup, but that leads to a very strong front Sunday night with more wind. Whether or not we get severe weather or not, still being worked on, still early. CSU, by the way, does have the severe risk over us, so we'll need to monitor that. The bigger story, I think, though, is just the fact that the temperature drop still looks quite dramatic into the night. And this will go over to a brief period of snow and snow showers on Monday, and then snow to start Wednesday that will likely go to rain at some point throughout Wednesday afternoon. And then we warm back up for the first day of spring. Of course we do. But in between all that, it's still going to be a bit on the wintry side. Go figure. All right, quick look at the radar again and your questions. And like I said many times, I'm going to run. I just want to make sure that we're all good. It's very important. Mm-hmm. All right. What is the tornado risk for the cells that pop ahead of the line? It's there. It's not, again, something I would call a tornado outbreak, but you can get some tornado potential. They are not the high-end numbers like they were out for like Illinois and stuff. It's more your low-end scale potential on that. And again, they don't have as much of a tailpipe to keep them going for as long as if they were to form this morning. If tornadoes had developed in Indiana instead of these clusters of severe thunderstorms, these would have the ability to be on the ground for a while. These could have been long tracked all the way into Ohio. That was the worry yesterday is, boy, if we get any tornadoes that can form in this environment, this is going to be a problem. And Storm Prediction Center, I'm sure, was on edge on that too, why they threw the tornado watch out. But now that it's all become messy and congealed together, it's much more of a straight line wind issue and heavy rain, so that tapers the threat down. We do not have as much of that same kind of a wind field later today, though, over Kentucky is what we have now, actually. So that it keeps a tornado chance or potential there, but not as wild if it were in a different spot. If that makes sense. Wind chimes are going crazy. Yeah, mine were too. What about the green near Corden? The green near Corden. That's just some light rain. Took me a second. If you were talking about, yeah, just some light rain there, Shonda. And again, these clouds are going to look really eerie today because the wind field is, gusty and strong, and you got low-hanging cumulus clouds mixed in with some of the sun. So it's got that look today, right? Like something weird is going on. It's a lot of that is just that, though. It's just the sky condition kind of messing with your mind a little bit of how it looks, but in reality, the radar does not match the thought process of what it looks like outside. So that's good. All right, so this warning, I don't see how it's going to be allowed to keep going. Let me double check and see if Indy's officially declared that. I can't imagine they would, but let's double check. Always want to make sure. Let's see. Delaware, Indiana. Yeah, a lot of the ELCs are standing down. All right. I like the way it is looking so far anyway. Let's see, where's this at? Oh, that's not here. State Road 37. I'm just reading a few things. Sorry, I'm not trying to ignore you. I promise. I feel you all staring me down. Yeah, okay. That's it, guys. I don't see anything else really coming out of this stuff out of Indiana. I think we're all right. Obviously, that changes. We'll let you know and pass that along. Just be weather aware for any additional alerts that could get issued this morning as these cells try to reorganize and regroup here in Southwest Indiana. So this is a spot that you could get some new development, additional warnings. I just think right now you may get a little bit of a break or an ease. Otherwise, just heavy rain and wind passing through your area for the next few hours, especially if you're traveling north and northeast, 71 and 65. It is going to be a mess on travel. The roads are going to be nasty. So please use some caution. For the rest of the area, we get a little bit of a breather, and then we just see what happens starting around 12 to 1 o'clock as we enter phase 2 of the system. And let's hope, especially with these cells, the way they're looking here, let's hope this is a sign that most of the action is going to be developing in a northeast line, just like that it's going to be a far southern Kentucky development of the new line of cells that will head rapidly east, and then the secondary line and behind it really struggles. So that's the way it's starting to look right now on the radar anyway, and we'll just take it one step at a time. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. As always, these mornings like this are touch and go. Always fun to see how they're going to play out. We'll make sure that you weren't getting too nervous hearing all these alerts go out. I know it can be a little overwhelming at times, so make sure you guys understand where we're at and you get some real-time data. And always remember, we have a 24-hour streaming channel that is on all the time on the Wave Weather app that is constantly streaming. So the alerts, Wavey's alerts, all that's instant. So tune into that. Our SkyTrack cameras on there, so you have a chance to see those. Watches, warnings, SBC outlooks, all that stuff is on there. So that's continuous streaming all the time. So you have the ability to get constant information. Even if you don't see us, you're getting some info of some sort that you need at your fingertips, which is really, really nice. And again, if anything else develops, we'll jump back on that's urgent. Otherwise, I'll be back on midday at 11 a.m. and we'll talk through it and we'll see where things stand on the afternoon thread. Let me give me a couple hours here to kind of go through the data trends, and I'll let you know at 11 a.m. Where we stand on that, as always. All right. Thanks for watching, everyone. You're awesome. I appreciate your time, and I will catch you guys coming up, hopefully later rather than sooner. I mean, no offense.